Married for 7 years. I had caught Raphael cheating on me 3 times. The first time, he knelt in the rain, begging for my forgiveness. The second time, he teamed up with my parents, throwing a fit and making a scene to stop me from filing for divorce. The third time, he simply gave up, laughing carelessly. Go find someone yourself. Happy now. Happy, oh, I was very satisfied. It was only after I truly tried it myself that I finally understood him. The taste of youth, fresh and intoxicating, was indeed wonderful. But Raphael regretted it. Chapter 1. On my 29th birthday, I was the only one in the empty house. Raphael, who had promised he would rush back to celebrate with me, texted me 2 minutes ago. Something came up last minute. I can't make it back. I'll make it up to you tomorrow. Just minutes apart. Right after that, his secretary Selena posted a story clearly meant for me to see. A hotel towering hundreds of floors above the city, the entire skyline spread out beneath it. In the bathtub in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, 2 hands covered in thick bubbles were intertwined. The intimate atmosphere was undeniable. The mark left by a removed wedding ring hadn't even fully faded yet. I recognized Raphael's hand immediately. The ridiculous thing was, I felt nothing at all. After all, this wasn't his first affair. The story vanished quickly. Selena then added a line of text. Posted the wrong thing. I'm gonna get scolded hard by my boss. So pitiful. I turned off my phone. My heart felt numb yet my body was cold, pushing me to seek warmth. I drove back to my parents' place. When I reached the door, I raised my hand to knock, but it felt as if invisible ropes bound my wrist, keeping me from moving. So I stood outside for several minutes. Inside, I heard voices, calm, casual. It was my younger brother David. Mom, isn't today my sister's birthday? My mom thought for a moment. Tomorrow's your birthday, oh right, then today must be hers. Should we call her? She scolded lightly. Call for what? Tomorrow's your birthday, we'll just celebrate hers together with yours. It's been that way every year, she's used to it. My dad chimed in, Raphael's probably with her anyway. My mom suddenly raised her voice. With her? Raphael's still on a business trip. And I bet that's just an excuse, he probably doesn't want to come home and see her. She's always walking around with that long face, like someone owes her a fortune. If she can't keep her man's heart, who else is to blame? And besides, Raphael is a big boss now. What big boss doesn't fool around a little? It's normal. The fact that he didn't abandon his first wife after becoming successful, and still promised she'd remain the lady of the house, she should be grateful. Just turn a blind eye and let it go. Who can stand her arguing with Raphael every day? My dad and brother echoed a few words of agreement, then the topic shifted. The family continued chatting and laughing. Only me, I grew colder and colder. My teeth were chattering. Chapter 2. 2 years ago, when I caught Raphael cheating for the first time, it felt as if I had fallen into an ice cavern. I uttered only one word, divorce. When you truly love someone, there isn't room in your heart for even a grain of sand, no room for betrayal. Even though he knelt in a storm for an entire night, even though he claimed he had been drugged and set up. I cried the whole night yet I still refused to forgive him. My mother slapped me hard across the face. Pointing at me, she cursed. You insisted on marrying him, and now you want a divorce just like that? Do you want our entire family to lose face along with you? Seeing my stunned expression, she softened her tone to coax me. Raphael was tricked by that shameless woman. Just give him another chance. Let it go. For a month, Raphael apologized every day, begging for reconciliation. I finally relented. But I couldn't bring myself to share a bed with him again. I simply couldn't get past that line in my heart. When Raphael saw how I had wasted away into a skin and bone shell, like a soulless walking corpse, he was so distressed that he cried. He wrote a guarantee letter, updated me on his schedule every day, and tended to me with meticulous care. But in less than half a year, I caught him cheating again, with his secretary. He said he'd been drunk and had mistaken her for me. I simply looked at him in silence until he became embarrassed and angry, slamming the door on his way out. Raphael didn't ask for my forgiveness this time. He calmly told my parents everything, knowing full well they would go to war on his behalf. My mother scolded me, saying I'd treated him poorly for half a year and left him no outlet. My father said if I divorced, he would disown me as his daughter. My brother said his company was funded by Raphael and told me to stop being selfish and think about the family. They made scenes at home, made scenes at my company, until they ran out of ways to pressure me. My mother even drank pesticide and had to be rushed to the hospital to have her stomach pumped. She sobbed and wailed. Celine, if you still acknowledge me as your mother, then don't bring up divorce. Our whole family depends on this son-in-law. Everyone knows I have a rich golden son-in-law. If you divorce, how are we supposed to face people? You can't be that selfish. Even Raphael's so-called brothers who used to respectfully call me sis mocked me while trying to advise me. Sis, men at Raphael's level all have a few pretty little vases outside. It's normal. You just need to stay home, be the rich wife, and enjoy life. No one can take your spot. Honestly, he already treats you pretty well. If you won't think for yourself, at least think about your leeching family, right? Raphael never had to say a word, because they were saying everything for him. I compromised again. This time, the relationship between Raphael and me dropped to absolute freezing point. I treated him like air. After a few failed attempts to engage me, he started coming home later and later. I don't even know how I survived that stretch of time. My mind felt like it was filled with glue, separated from the world by a glass dome. I couldn't feel anything. When Raphael cheated the third time, he brought the secretary home. Right there on the sofa, barely finished, the collar of his shirt was still open, revealing fresh red kiss marks. I asked him, "Why won't you divorce me?" He lit a cigarette. Thin smoke blurred his eyes and brows as he sighed helplessly. Celine, at our age, stop being naive. Even if I agree to divorce, your parents won't. I'm doing this for your sake. They say that when a blind person regains sight, the first thing they discard is their cane. I didn't. Even if I don't need it anymore, I'll still keep it carefully. So you can continue being the rich lady of the house. Even without love, there's still family between us. I actually laughed. So you finally admit you don't love me anymore? Raphael stared at me for a long moment, then the corner of his thin lips curved with a hint of amusement. I have to admit it, no matter how deep the feelings are, time washes everything away. When I see your tears now, I feel nothing. Just annoyance. Chapter 3. What comes after a heart turning to ashes? I didn't know. After walking out of the place that was supposed to be my home, I ran into a drunk man who tried to grope me. He staggered toward me with a sleazy grin. "Hey pretty girl, where you going? I'll take you there." As he spoke, he reached out to grab me. My unfocused gaze rested on him, and a sudden, uncontrollable urge to destroy welled up from deep inside me. Go die. Go die. All of you just go die. What's the point of living? If life is meaningless, then let everything end. In his terrified eyes, I smiled and took out a fruit knife. For a while, I had been overwhelmed by fear of everything around me, always thinking someone would harm me. Only with something to protect myself could I feel a trace of safety. The hell, are you insane? Where'd this crazy woman come from? His eyes instantly cleared and he took off running. I chased after him like a madwoman, shouting the vilest curses I had ever spoken. When my high heels broke, I ran barefoot. I chased until the soles of my feet were a bloody mess, chased until he disappeared completely. I smashed my phone, then smashed everything I could smash. Not enough. Still not enough. The urge to destroy what was churning inside my chest clawed at me, drag everything down with me, let everything die. Adrenaline drove my limbs as I wandered aimlessly. I didn't know how long I walked until I heard the sound of waves. I sat on the rocks by the sea all night until the morning sun rose above the horizon. When calm finally returned, I thought for a long time. My husband was no longer my lover. My family was no longer my family. I had nothing left. Everything that mattered in my life had collapsed. Strangely, a sense of peace rose within me. No expectations. No hope. No attachments. And what comes with that? A kind of freedom. If the sky had already fallen, how could things get worse than this? If I couldn't fight it, then I might as well join it. If I was treated like an outsider, then I would blend right in. I felt as though I heard the sound of my soul shattering, only to reassemble into something new, leaving my emotions stripped away. Everything became insignificant. Chapter 4. When I opened the door to the house, Raphael and Selena were flirting on the couch. The housekeeper pushing me inside looked awkward. "Sir, madam is home." Raphael glanced over casually, then froze. "What happened to your leg?" My voice was calm. "My heel broke. Glass cut me." Selena pouted delicately. "Celine, I'm just saying, you're a grown woman. Why pull a disappearing act and make the boss worry all night? He didn't even sleep well." She shot Raphael a coy glance, clearly implying something. Raphael didn't speak. He gave her a warning look, though still indulgent. Selena stuck out her tongue playfully. I smiled. That's why these heels were such bad quality. Not only did I fall, but my phone broke too. Really should have chosen better ones. So please help me order the latest spring-summer limited editions from those luxury brands. Price isn't a problem, my husband has plenty of money. Selena's expression stiffened. She tugged lightly at Raphael's sleeve, only to realize he was watching me with a thoughtful expression. "It's my birthday. You're not willing to help with something this small?" Raphael suddenly smiled. "Then let her buy them." He patted Selena. "Go home first. I'm spending my wife's birthday with her." Selena swallowed her temper, gave me a glare that had no real bite, then reluctantly left. "What birthday present do you want?" I looked at him. "Does your previous promise about an open marriage still count?" Raphael paused as I took out a new phone and pointed it at him. "Say it again to the camera." "I'm afraid you'll go back on your word." "Need evidence." Realizing what I meant, Raphael laughed, not angry at all. "Don't worry. If I can find someone, you can too. Happy now? What if you regret it?" "Regret?" He scoffed. "If I regret it, I'd be a dog. Satisfied?" I slowly instructed the housekeeper to prepare a room on the first floor for me. Raphael's gaze lingered on my phone. "Switched brands?" I nodded. "Used the old one too long. I got tired of it. Wanted to try something new." Honestly, we hadn't spoken this peacefully in a long time. But for some reason, maybe one sentence rubbed him the wrong way, he let out a cold laugh, stood up, and walked away. Chapter 5. Celine had been acting very strangely lately. After working for so many years, she quit her job just because she said so. She said, "Why should a rich man's wife go to work? My job now is to enjoy life." In the past, no matter how busy or tired she was, she would never quit. She always said her work was her backbone, her sense of security. But now, she bought luxury cars, jewelry, antiques, things she had never shown interest in before. The black card Raphael once gave her, she used to refuse. Eventually he stopped giving her anything at all. But now she accepted everything without hesitation. When she liked something, she would just send him a picture. Her willfulness was almost adorable. She permed her hair. Her already striking features became even more dazzling, turned up to a 10 out of 10. Raphael started feeling threatened. He asked the housekeeper what Celine had been doing lately. The housekeeper said she'd been going out to work out every day. Working out? Was it to please him? Celine was stubborn, he knew that. Had she finally figured things out? Raphael should have been happy, yet a strange tightness gripped his chest. He felt things slipping out of his control little by little. Celine wasn't supposed to be like this. Sitting in his office, he lit a cigarette, replaying everything that had felt off recently. Open marriage? Impossible. Even if Celine had completely given up on him, she would have aimed straight for divorce. She would never cross that line, never. The more he thought this, the more a sour irritation twisted inside him. Selena murmured in his arms. "She dresses up like that every day, maybe she's going out to sleep around." Her words snapped the last taut string inside Raphael's mind. He yanked her hair downward violently. Her cry of pain and the shock in her eyes were drowned by the fury twisting Raphael's face. What my wife does is none of your damn business. You're just the side piece, don't you know your place? Selina's eyes filled instantly with tears, but she still lowered her head, scrambling to apologize. I'm sorry. I was wrong. But Raphael had already lost interest. He grabbed his clothes and left. Coincidentally, he had a 1-week business trip to Sioux City. On an impulse, he went to a temple they had visited right after getting married. There was a large banyan tree inside, its branches full of red marriage ribbons. Raphael spent a long time searching before finally finding theirs. The color was almost completely faded. But he recognized her handwriting immediately. Celine and Raphael will love each other for a lifetime. His eyelids suddenly stung and a slow, sour ache spread through him. Raphael felt an overwhelming urge to go home, to see Celine. But when he opened the door, all he saw were clothes strewn across the floor. From Celine's room came her lazy teasing laughter. Stop messing around, Fernando. Carry me to the shower. He froze on the spot. Chapter 6. When I opened the door, I had only a bath towel wrapped around me. Fernando let out a dramatic awe, pretending to be troubled as he glanced back at me. Sweetheart, didn't you say your husband was on a business trip? How is he suddenly home? I gave him a calming smile, then looked toward the doorway. Why didn't you let me know you were coming back? Raphael stood utterly still, like a stone statue. The dazed look in his eyes was painfully obvious, as if he had never imagined he would see something like this in his lifetime. A few seconds later, he finally snapped out of it, exploding in rage. He swung a fist toward Fernando. Thankfully, Fernando had mentally prepared himself from the first day we were together. He made sure to work out consistently to avoid being beaten by my husband. He sidestepped effortlessly, his tone lazy. Take it easy. If you injure me, your wife will feel bad. You really don't know how to behave. I couldn't help but laugh. Fernando, go on ahead. My husband probably has something to discuss with me. See you next time. He scooped his clothes off the floor and right in front of Raphael, hooked a hand under my chin and kissed me deeply. Sweetheart, don't make me wait too long. I smiled and nodded, watching him leave. I had just straightened up when pain shot through my wrist. Someone yanked me hard, dragging me into the bathroom. Raphael's eyes were bloodshot with fury. He tore off my towel and shoved me into the bathtub, turning on the water to wash me. I cried out in pain and slapped him across the face, hard. What the hell is wrong with you? The slap knocked his head to the side and reason finally began returning to him. Raphael's jaw tightened as he stared at me. Celine, how dare you betray me? I frowned. Raphael, are you pretending to have amnesia? On the day we agreed to an open marriage, you swore you wouldn't regret it. So what are you doing now? Water trickled down his face, making him look paler and paler. His thin lips moved slightly. That's because you were certain I'd never cross that line. You were certain I'd swallow my pain and suffer in silence, isn't that right? I stretched my arms along the edge of the bathtub, openly showing the marks on my body. Raphael immediately turned his head away as if the sight burned his eyes. His clenched fists turned bone-white, trembling faintly. I chuckled softly. You really are pathetic. Chapter 7. After that unpleasant fallout, Raphael retaliated against me by directly bringing Selina back home. The housekeeper went from initial shock to pretending she couldn't hear anything. I wasn't surprised at all. In fact, I even complimented Selina's new sexy lingerie. Seeing how completely unfazed I was made Raphael even angrier. He dragged Selina back to the bedroom, determined to make noise just to prove something. If I slept upstairs, they would renovate the room next door. If I slept downstairs, they would work in the living room. Late at night, once again awakened by their loud noises, I finally reached my limit. I stomped over and kicked their door, shouting angrily. Do you two have any decency at all? Can't a person sleep in this house? The door opened quickly. Raphael stood there with his upper body covered in scratch marks, a smirk tugging at his lips. You said you didn't care. What's this now? I forced down the fire inside me. I don't care what you do, where you do it, or in what position. But I do hope you could be quieter when other people in this house need to rest. Is that really such a difficult request? Raphael lowered his head and stared at me for a long moment, as if looking for even the tiniest trace of jealousy on my face. After a silent standoff, he gave a bored curl of his lips. Sorry. Can't do that. Selena also came out, wrapping herself in a nightgown. She leaned limply against Raphael. Sorry, I tried to tell him, but he never listens. Well, it is his house, Celine. Just bear with it. I blinked. She was right. Without saying another word, I turned around and went back to my room. Half an hour later, I rolled my suitcase out the front door. Raphael's veins popped at his temple when he saw Fernando standing in the living room waiting. As we passed by, Raphael grabbed my wrist. Celine, where are you going? I yanked my hand away in disgust. To somewhere people can sleep. Is that enough for you? Satisfied now? Raphael blocked my way, his voice losing control. You're not allowed to leave. Fernando elbowed him aside. Move. Don't squeeze my sweetheart. If you don't feel bad hurting her, I do. Raphael grunted as he was knocked into the wall. Selena rushed out to help him, but he shoved her away. From beginning to end, his eyes stayed fixed on my face. And in them, I saw shock. And confusion. I didn't look back as I left with Fernando. When the house is quiet again, I'll come back. Chapter 8. Fernando drove me to one of the properties under my name. He made himself at home, holding me tightly as if he belonged there. You barely looked for me after your husband came home. What am I to you? I stroked his hair affectionately. A side piece. Fernando. His outrageously handsome face twisted into a wounded expression. Fine, then can you spend some time with your side piece now? He asked, but his hands were already sliding skillfully under my clothes. I was speechless. It was hard to match this version of him with the cold, sharp-tongued man I met 2 months ago. My first encounter with Fernando had been anything but dignified. After catching Raphael cheating yet again, my mother pretended to scold him in front of me, only to reveal her real intentions afterward. She blamed me for not being able to keep his heart, mocked my hairstyle, my figure, my personality, tore me down until nothing was left. Then she told me to dress up and please Raphael. I threw up right in front of her. My throat burned like it was on fire, my stomach rolling with nausea. The funniest thing was, my mom thought I was pregnant. She dragged me excitedly to the hospital, only to hear it was just gastroenteritis. She left muttering in disappointment. I stumbled out of the hospital, walking like a soulless corpse. I didn't know how long I walked before a business card was suddenly held out in front of me. Interested in fitness training? The word fitness stabbed straight into my nerves. I snapped. I broke down completely. So you think I should work out to please a cheating husband? You think he keeps cheating because I'm not pretty or my body isn't good enough? You think it's my fault? Is that it? People on the street stopped to watch my pathetic scene. In that moment, I felt utterly helpless. I apologized to him in a hurry, grabbed the business card, and walked away quickly. Behind me came his clear, steady voice. You're fine. Your husband's cheating isn't your fault. He made a solemn vow at the wedding and failed to honor it. That's his failure. And fitness isn't about pleasing anyone, it's about feeling what it's like to shape and control your own body. I wiped my tears haphazardly and walked faster. I sat by the river for a long time that day. When I finally turned around, a tall silhouette was standing behind me. We were strangers, yet he stayed there for a long time, afraid I might do something to myself. Later, I went to that gym and bought their highest tier membership. Naturally, he became my personal trainer. And that's how I learned his name, Fernando. Chapter 9. Fernando was extremely handsome, and countless gym members tried to flirt with him every day. But aside from work, he kept everyone at arm's length. Let alone a married woman like me. Still, I'm a very patient person. Back in university, Raphael had been dirt poor, but he was handsome, ambitious, and carried a kind of ascetic aura that attracted many wealthy girls to confess to him. He rejected every single one of them without hesitation. That was when I realized someone from an ordinary family like me actually had more in common with him. I stuck close to him every day, showing my affection yet deliberately never confessing, leaving him no chance to turn me down. After 2 years, the girls chasing him came and went, but I stayed right there. Raphael finally softened. The turning point was when his mother collapsed from illness. I went with him to the hospital and helped take care of her for half a month. Raphael kissed me first and said he would never let me down for the rest of his life. Looking back now, that promise was complete bullshit. But objectively speaking, I do know a thing or two about pursuing hard-to-get men. After adding Fernando on WeChat, I scrolled through all his posts. There were only a few, but the information in them was enough. The songs he shared, the movie stills, the topics he commented on. I spent several days studying all of it. Then, when I went to class again, I brought those things up casually, instant conversation topics. Visibly, he started replying to my messages more and more frequently. During the day, there was occasional physical contact in class. At night, there was a collision of souls. Maybe it's age, or maybe I've simply become more attractive. In less than 2 months, he opened his heart to me. Fernando was a rich second-generation heir. Most of his family's businesses were overseas. His parents had a business marriage. After he was born, they divorced and each found their own lovers outside. A child who never felt love chose to run away from home. He returned to the country, preferring to be a fitness trainer rather than inherit that cold empire. Ridiculous. Fernando asked me, "Sweetheart, do you think I'm stupid?" I smiled. "Pretty stupid, yes. Just like I used to be. You ran away hoping they would come find you, right? But the truth is, they'll forget about you quickly. The inheritance that should have been yours will go to some outside illegitimate child. When someone doesn't love you, their first reaction to your tears is disgust, not heartbreak. I've been through it." Fernando stared at me, eyes flickering faintly. "You must have suffered a lot." My hand slid up to his beautifully sculpted chest. "Once you figure it out, not expecting anything from anyone, life gets much easier. Instead of drowning in pain, watching others enjoy themselves, why not have some fun for yourself? Right, speaking of fun, Fernando caught my hand helplessly. "You really only want my body, don't you? But speaking of fun, I really do." He didn't finish. Instead, a trail of fine, lingering kisses traveled downward. And through action rather than words, he proved that he could indeed make me feel very good. Chapter 10. I hadn't even enjoyed a few carefree days outside before Raphael started acting up again in the middle of the night. A few of his buddies dragged me into a group chat. They sent several videos of him drunk in a club, yelling my name. Classic Raphael, always knowing exactly how to disgust me. Sis, no matter what, you can't just ignore Raphael. He's drinking himself into the hospital. Me, can't his little mistress pick him up? He only wants you to come. I directly sent the video of Raphael swearing he'd never regret the open marriage agreement. No one dared say another word. The group was quickly dissolved. But then my phone rang. "Sis, Raphael's drunk. We can't handle him. Can you come? Please, I'm begging you." I was about to hang up when Raphael grabbed the phone. "Celine, come pick me up. I'll double your allowance." I paused for 2 seconds. "Address." Fernando wrapped his sleepy arms around my waist from behind. "Don't go." I kissed him lightly. "Be good. I'll make him buy another sports car. Next month we'll go on that road trip." Only then did Fernando let me go. When I arrived, one of Raphael's brothers came to get me. The same one who once spoke down to me, telling me to let things go. Standing where Raphael could clearly see us, I lifted my hand and patted that brother's cheek lightly. "I see you're still looking good. You know, Raphael and I are doing our own thing now. How about accompanying me on a shopping trip sometime?" His expression went blank, but his Adam's apple bobbed involuntarily. Before he could say a word, Raphael's fist smashed across his face. "What the hell is that look you're giving my wife?" The guy was stunned. "What? I didn't do anything." Raphael clearly wasn't listening. He tried to hit him again, and the other man, now pissed, pushed back. Are you insane? They wrestled until several people pulled them apart. I crossed my arms and enjoyed the entire show. When Raphael slid into the passenger seat and saw the amused curve of my lips, he looked momentarily dazed. I was in a good mood, so I didn't mind him staring. Where to? Back to the love nest you share with Selena? He froze for a moment, then forced out, "That's our home." I didn't respond. As the heavy smell of alcohol hit me, my stomach twisted. This whole car reeks of alcohol. I'm sending it in for cleaning. Buy me a new one. I'll pick a model and send it to you later. Raphael kept his eyes closed. I almost thought he'd passed out until he let out a self-mocking laugh. Is this all we talk about now? I found his words ridiculous. Didn't you tell me to be a rich man's wife? Now what are you complaining about? The only value you have to me now is making money for me to spend. Why would I stay loyal to a rotten cucumber like you otherwise? Sorry, I'm not as pathetic as you. Raphael inhaled slowly, then opened his eyes. Something dark rippled inside them, emotion I couldn't name. Celine. I barely recognize you anymore. I smiled. Can't stand it? Then divorce me. Raphael let out a low laugh. Divorce? Impossible. It seemed Raphael had made up his mind to ruin my peace. I had just gotten a new car and was planning a trip with Fernando when my mother called dozens of times, insisting I come home for dinner. If Raphael hadn't planned it, I wouldn't believe it. Sure enough, when the door opened, I saw Raphael sitting with my family, enjoying themselves like one big happy group. My dad, apparently drunk and ready-faced, waved at me cheerfully. Celine, Raphael says he'll break things off with the women outside and live a good life with you from now on. I couldn't help glancing at Raphael. What game was he playing now? Raphael didn't look away. His expression was sincere, just like when I caught him cheating for the first time. Baby, I've already promised your parents. Just trust me one more time, okay? My mom grinned so wide her molars showed. Yes, whatever the conflict is, just talk it out. A peaceful family brings prosperity. If you ask me, you two should hurry up and have a baby. A child will stabilize the marriage. Raphael nodded in agreement. Everyone echoed her. No one cared what I thought. I took a bite of fish. When they finally stopped laughing and turned to me, I smiled gently. What? Raphael didn't tell you? I'm cheating too. Silence slammed into the room. Raphael's pupils shook violently. He never expected I would rip the last shred of pretense off like this. My brother reacted first, giving an awkward laugh. Sis, you're joking, right? I tilted my head. Your brother-in-law and I already agreed to an open marriage. We're both free to do whatever. You're young, you should get it. Raphael grabbed my hand, his fingers trembled. His expression twisted between crying and laughing, ugly and confused. Baby, that was just something I said in anger. Let's forget it, okay? I yanked my hand away. I don't understand what you're trying to do. Isn't this good? I don't interfere with you and you don't interfere with me. My dad slammed his chopsticks on the table. A woman cheating is disgraceful. My mom quickly chimed in. Exactly. Women must behave themselves. Celine, cut it off immediately. When I didn't respond and continued eating, she slapped my chopsticks out of my hand. Did you hear me? The air stank of smoke and alcohol. Breathing felt difficult. I stood up and flipped the entire table over. Don't want me to eat? Then no one eats. Plates shattered across the floor with a loud crash. Raphael stared stunned, looking at me like I was a stranger. I let out a cold laugh. So when a woman cheats, she's disgraceful. When a man cheats, it's the woman's fault. When a man wants to return to the family, it's a blessing. But when a woman wants a divorce, it's a shameful scandal. You treat your son-in-law like a biological son but trample your real daughter into the dirt. You're incredible. They were too shocked to speak, so I raised my voice. You look down on women, right? I turned to my dad. During your surgery, who paid your medical bills? That precious son of yours? No, it was me. The daughter you look down on. Then I looked at my mom. After every meal, your husband and son lie on the couch while I help you clean because I don't want you exhausted. And what do you say? Girls should be hardworking or no one will marry them. When it comes to food and gifts, you only think of your son. When your back hurt and you were hospitalized, you suddenly remembered me. I asked your precious son to visit and he reluctantly went just once, and you were overjoyed. One sentence from you, a son is more reliable, wiped out everything I ever did for you. Do I owe you something? I swept my gaze around the room. This house? I bought it with my own savings. What has your precious son contributed? I pointed at David, whose face had gone pale and green. All you do is beg me not to divorce because your entire career relies on your brother-in-law. If that's the case, shouldn't you marry him instead of me? Celine, have you lost your mind? My father lurched toward me to hit me, but Raphael held him back tightly. Raphael stared at me, completely stunned. My family had always been my last emotional weak spot, yet here I was, tearing that illusion apart myself. Lost my mind? Maybe. I turned around, picked up a baseball bat, and smashed it into the TV. If you look down on women so badly, then stop using a woman's money. Have your wonderful son or your wonderful son-in-law pay for everything. The TV, bought by me, shattered. The fridge, bought by me, smashed. The air conditioner, bought by me, destroyed. I wrecked everything I had ever paid for until chaos filled the whole house. My mom slapped her thighs and wailed hysterically, cursing me as an ungrateful creature who should have never been born. I smiled gently at her. If you want to die, go ahead. Last time we saved you from drinking pesticide, next time, choose a taller building and jump. I won't stop you. Her wailing cut off abruptly. When the house was finally a wreckage of broken appliances and shattered glass, I dropped the bat and looked at my terrified family. From now on, I won't care about you anymore. Live or die, it's your choice. Push me again and next time. I don't know what kind of madness I'll unleash. Chapter 11. On the way back, Raphael still hadn't recovered from the chaos at my parents' house. His voice carried a rare confusion. Celine, what's been happening to you lately? I closed my eyes to rest and asked lazily. You're repeating the same trick, using them to pressure me into reconciling with you. Now that things blew up like this, aren't you satisfied? Raphael kept his eyes on the road. He tugged the corner of his mouth but couldn't force a smile. So why won't you forgive me this time? You don't want me and now you don't want your family either. Celine, when did you become so heartless? His voice was calm but every sentence was heavy with helplessness. I opened my eyes slowly. Raphael, they're your family, not mine. When you hurt me again and again, they chose your side. From that moment on, they stopped being my family. My only regret is not realizing this sooner. Imagine how much better things would have been if I had. From now on, I have nothing left that I care about. What can you possibly use to threaten me? I glanced at him leisurely. The car slowly pulled over. I opened the door without hesitation and stepped out. Behind me came a voice so soft it nearly disappeared in the wind. Yeah, how am I supposed to keep you? I tossed all these pointless people and things out of my mind and kept my promise, taking Fernando on our road trip. For a month, we traveled west. We ran across vast grasslands, witnessed the breathtaking glow of golden sunlight over snow-capped mountains. It felt as if dormant life inside me was finally awakening again. For the first time, I felt free. Addictive. When we returned, Raphael asked me to move back home. He said he had already fired Selena and that I wouldn't see her again. I agreed. Where I lived didn't matter anyway, as long as the money was there. But on the very day I moved back, Selena came banging on the door like a madwoman. She must have been drinking, crying and screaming in the living room, clinging to Raphael. I don't believe you don't love me at all. Raphael was icy cold now. Yeah. I don't love you at all. Selena's voice turned sharp. If you didn't love me, why did you let me take off your wedding ring? Why did you let me sit in the passenger seat? Why did you skip Celine's birthday and let me post those stories provoking her? You dare say you don't have any feelings for me? Is it because that bitch forced you to break up with me? She gets to have her boy toy but won't let you divorce her? I'm going to talk to her myself. She charged toward the stairs, ready to start a fight, but Raphael dragged her down and threw her onto the floor. His tone was ice, barely restrained rage beneath it. Selena, you dare call my wife a bitch? You have a death wish? What are you? You think you're worthy of showing your face in front of my wife? Selena stared at him blankly, tears streaming down her face as she let out a hysterical laugh. Raphael, what are you pretending to be now? A loyal husband? When you were sleeping with me, did you ever think of your wife? Now that she doesn't want you anymore, suddenly you're crawling back. God, you're pathetic. He didn't argue. He just called the housekeeper to drag her out. I came down the stairs just then. The moment our eyes met, Raphael actually looked flustered. Baby, it's really over between us. Completely. I cut him off. You don't need to explain anything to me. When he saw my bag, he immediately asked, "Where are you going?" I pushed the door open without looking back. Fernando's not feeling well. I'm going to check on him. I won't be home tonight. Raphael couldn't say a single word. He stared blankly as the door clicked shut, his eyes suddenly red. Chapter 12. Fernando really was sick. Probably exhausted from the trip, he started running a persistent low fever as soon as he got back. I dragged him to the hospital for 4 fluids and medicine, busy the entire day. Get some proper rest. I touched his forehead and got up to turn off the light. Fernando grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. Don't go. I won't. Sleep. I'll stay with you. His usually bold, handsome face looked softer, even obedient, under the sickness. Sweetheart, no one's ever treated me this well. If you want that, there'll be plenty of people happy to treat you well. Fernando locked his gaze on mine stubbornly. It's not the same. I only want you. I paused, lowering my eyes. With your condition right now, I'm guessing you're not really up for anything. Cough cough. He glared at me, ears turning red. Actually, I still can. Don't you want to try a feverish? I pinched his mouth shut. Stop. I'm not at the level of exploiting sick people. If you don't sleep, I'm leaving. Fernando reluctantly closed his eyes, though his hand still held mine tightly. I let him. The next morning, I made him a pot of century egg and lean pork congee. Fernando wrapped his arms lazily around my waist from behind. You're leaving already? Take care of yourself. I'll come check on you in a couple days. He frowned. So your husband's copying me now? I get sick and he decides to get sick too. I couldn't help laughing. No helping it, he's the official husband after all. Fernando bit my collarbone in frustration. I slipped my hand under his shirt, tracing the firm lines beneath the warm skin. So much strength left. Want to go in death for half an hour? He inhaled softly, eyes darkening as he lifted me onto the kitchen island, dropping to one knee. Half an hour? Not even close. Chapter 13. By the time I returned home, it was almost evening. The housekeeper had called earlier saying Raphael had a high fever. I couldn't be bothered. Soon after, Raphael himself called, threatening Fernando's job to force me home. The moment I stepped inside, I hurled my bag straight at his face. Raphael, does acting like this every single day entertain you? He didn't move. His tall frame stood there silently. Then his gaze lifted, landing on the bite mark on my collarbone. His pupils trembled visibly. I curled my lips in mockery. Well? What's your drama this time? My stomach hurts. I said impatiently. Then go see a doctor. I'm not a physician. Raphael's dry lips moved. I want the century egg and lean pork congee you make. Not in the mood. But you were in the mood to make it for Fernando? I paused mid-step on the stairs and frowned back at him. You're checking his WeChat moments too? Raphael, the open relationship was your idea. What are you throwing a tantrum about now? Don't you have a company to run? Instead you're stalking people online. Does that make you feel accomplished? You think going after Fernando will control me? If he leaves, there will be another man. I spend your money to take care of other men without a shred of guilt. When will you finally understand? No one cares whether you live or die. Suddenly, Raphael bent over, clutching his stomach. Cold sweat beaded along his hairline. He looked like he was in excruciating pain. He tried to speak, but he was hurting too much to form a single word. His eyes pleaded desperately. I stared coldly at his pathetic state. Then I made a call to the housekeeper and headed upstairs. Chapter 14. Sometime past midnight, half asleep, I felt someone kissing me. Instinctively, I pushed him away. Fernando, stop messing around. His movements froze, then became even more aggressive. I could barely breathe. The moment clarity hit me, I slapped him hard. Raphael, what the hell is wrong with you? He didn't dodge. Instead, he pressed his face into my palm. I felt something wet. Baby. I was wrong. I really was wrong. Let's just reconcile. No more fights, okay? His voice cracked, desperate to get close to me. His kisses trailed down my neck. Whatever he can do, I can do too. I'll make you feel good. Please. Fury surged through me. I grabbed his hair and yanked his head back ruthlessly. You think you're worthy of being compared to Fernando? He's young and clean. You're so filthy that touching you feels like I'll catch an STD. How do you even have the face to say something like that? Raphael broke. One hand covered his eyes as a choked sob escaped him. Then what should I do, Celine? Tell me, what am I supposed to do? I snapped. Go find someone. No one said you couldn't. Raphael clung to me like a drowning man. I won't look for anyone else. Never again. Baby, I'm sorry. I really regret it. Please, please give me another chance. I'd had enough. I grabbed him by the hair and dragged him to the bathroom sink. Do you remember what you said before? You said if you ever regretted it, you'd be a dog. Look at yourself now. Don't you look exactly like one? In the mirror, he was thin, pale, his eyes bloodshot and lifeless, nothing like the man he had been months ago. My fingers tightened around his arm, and that's when I realized how terrifyingly thin he'd become. I had meant to shake some sense into him, but he tugged the corner of his lips and, utterly degraded, let out a low, hoarse bark. Celine. I am a dog. I'm trash. I'm an idiot. Hit me, insult me, whatever makes you happy. I just want you back. We'll return to how we were. I know we will, we have to. He murmured to himself as if trying to convince his own mind. Disgusted, I let go. I had barely pushed him when he collapsed to the floor, completely out of strength. I looked down at him for a long moment, frowning. Raphael, when did you get this weak? Did you actually catch something nasty? If you're sick, go get treated. My quality of life must not drop, this is my only requirement for you. Because aside from making money, you have zero value left. Chapter 15. After tearing everything apart, I stopped going back to that house altogether. Unexpectedly, Raphael didn't try to bother me this time. Instead, it was my mother who started calling, playing the victim, her attitude unusually cautious. My father and brother also contacted me one after another, their tone much better than before. Between the lines, they were hoping I'd go home more often. They had always been like this. Favoring sons over daughters, treating David and me completely differently. When his clothes got old, he got new ones. When my clothes got old, they were patched again and again. David always got the chicken leg. I, being a girl with a small appetite, was given the chicken wing. His allowance was refillable, mine was already enough. There were too many disappointments to count. But every time I resolved to hate them, I would remember those few nights when I was sick, being tucked in carefully, hearing worried sighs. The cruelest thing wasn't their constant belittling and criticism. It was the illusion they created, the illusion that maybe, just maybe, they loved me a little. And I spent the first half of my life chasing that faint, barely there warmth. Because it was enough to numb every wound I had ever suffered. Someone once said parental love is like a damp cotton jacket, cold to wear, cold to take off. The bravest thing I ever did was choosing Raphael despite his parents' disapproval and my own parents' scolding. It was the first and only soul-level rebellion of my 20 years of life. And for a while, it seemed I had made the right choice. The biased images of my parents in my memory slowly faded, replaced by the illusion of a loving family. I despised myself for being so cheap, yet I craved their affection. Until Raphael's betrayal shattered every illusion. It turned out, all of it was just a dream before my spirit died. At 29, I finally took off that damp cotton jacket. I would never let it suffocate me again. After blocking every single one of them, I slowly exhaled. See? It wasn't a big deal after all. Chapter 16. I saw Raphael again 2 months later. It was the anniversary of his mother's passing. I bought a bouquet of white chrysanthemums to visit her. He stood before the tombstone in a black cashmere coat, silent and solemn. We stood side by side for a long time, neither of us speaking. Under circumstances like this, it was impossible not to think about the past. Right after we got married, Raphael had been consumed by starting his company, meeting investors, entertaining clients. To earn money for his mother's medical treatment, he pushed himself until his health collapsed, ending up in the hospital several times with stomach bleeding. I was distressed. I learned to cook meals that were gentle on the stomach and ran back and forth between the hospital and the office. The century egg and lean pork congee I made was the best, because it was his favorite. His mother had pancreatic cancer. She had surgery, but it relapsed. I spent her final days with her. She told me again and again stories of Raphael as a child. Raphael's father had cheated, abandoning them both when Raphael was still very young. He grew up early, mature without ever having a rebellious phase. His mother said that meeting me was a blessing for the both of them. Before she passed, she made Raphael swear to take care of me for the rest of his life. He cried so hard he could barely breathe, nodding desperately. Maybe that's why, even after cheating, he never treated me poorly financially. At this point, I didn't care enough to debate whether that counted as keeping his vow. It didn't matter anymore. Just as I turned to leave, I heard his calm voice. "Celine, let's get a divorce." My steps paused. After a long moment, I lowered my eyes. All right. When I looked at the asset division in the agreement, I was surprised. Except for the company shares, he gave me nearly all of his wealth. The amount was enormous, far beyond what I expected. Naturally, I wasn't stupid enough to refuse. I even joked lightly. I knew my taste in men wasn't that bad. At least you're generous. His cheeks had sunken inward from how thin he'd gotten. He looked like a skeleton wrapped in clothes. Hearing my comment, he looked up, the corner of his lips lifting in a self-mocking curve. "But you stopped trusting me long ago. Otherwise, you wouldn't have secretly transferred assets." I smiled faintly, saying nothing. From the beginning, I had never planned on being entangled with a rotten man for life. So I kept asking him for money, using various methods to transfer everything I controlled into overseas accounts. Even if things turned ugly and he gave me nothing in the end, I would still have enough to live freely for the rest of my life. My escape route had been prepared long ago. No one would ever shake me again. Chapter 17. The day we collected our divorce certificates, the weather was uncharacteristically beautiful. Fernando stood beside me, smiling brighter than the sun. "Thanks for being sensible, ex-husband. I'll take good care of my sweetheart." Raphael ignored his provocation completely. His lingering gaze traced my face inch by inch, as if memorizing it permanently. I lifted the corner of my lips and nodded at him. "Take care." He made a soft sound of acknowledgement but couldn't stop his eyes from turning red. "Celine. I'm sorry." Then he turned and walked away. In the end, we had come to this point. Fernando asked what I planned to do next. I answered without hesitation. "I'm going to travel around the world." During that month of road tripping, nature's wild winds had pierced my skin and set the stagnant blood inside me surging again. That moment, I realized, it wasn't my soul that broke. It was the cage around it. I could go anywhere. I was free. "And what about you? What will you do next?" Fernando lowered his gaze to me, his expression relaxed in a way I had never seen. "I've decided to go back and inherit the family business." "You were right, running away solves nothing. I shouldn't hand over what's mine to others." I smiled and nodded. "Good. I support you." From the very beginning, we had agreed on one thing. Both sides could end this relationship at any time. And now, it was about time to part. I was wondering how to say goodbye when Fernando's clear, pleasant voice rang right next to my ear. "Sweetheart, just keep walking forward. I'll catch up to you." I froze slightly. Then he added, "If I manage to reach you, I hope you'll give me a chance to be with you properly. Celine. I really like you." There wasn't much to think about. A small smile lifted my lips as I reached out and hugged him. Okay. I wouldn't stop my journey for anyone, but I wouldn't mind walking alongside someone who matched my stride. How long that would last, that depended on fate. Chapter 18. Another half-year passed. When I reached the Abu Simbel temples in Egypt, I received a call from home. The caller was Raphael's attorney. He told me Raphael had died a few minutes ago due to stomach cancer. Before he died, he sold the company and left all of his assets to me. When I heard the news, I was stunned for only a moment. Sudden as it was, the signs had been there. The lawyer's voice grew heavy. "My condolences. Raphael also left a final message for you. He said he would respect your wishes. Would you like to hear it?" I was silent for a moment. No need. After I hung up, the tour guide Fernando had found for me asked with concern if something urgent had happened and if we needed to pause the trip. I shook my head. "It's nothing important. Let's continue." He smiled, nodded, and went on explaining the local history. The scenery before me soon occupied all of my thoughts. It was as if that phone call had merely been some trivial piece of news. Because it truly wasn't important. Only in a passing moment did a line of poetry suddenly surface in my mind. If every encounter in life could remain as beautiful and pure as the first meeting, how could there be the sorrow of fading feelings carried away by the autumn wind? One can only sigh at the impermanence of the world. But even the hardest rainstorm will eventually pass. Keep moving forward, never look back.